The views expressed on this program are those of the producers and individuals appearing on this program and do not necessarily reflect the views of the Sun Prairie Media Center staff, its video service providers, or the staff and elected officials of the City of Sun Prairie.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Spot for Health. I'm Shirley Gutkowski.
I'm Dr. Shalom Samuel.
And we're here during Alzheimer's Awareness Month. Did you know that June, among a lot of other things, is Alzheimer's Awareness Month? And we have a special guest with us here today, Angie Stone, who you may remember from previous episodes where she was going into long-term care facilities and cleaning people's teeth. And she had a whole cadre of dental hygienists that would go into these nursing homes and clean the teeth of the residents in those nursing homes. What happened during COVID, though, is that all the nursing homes shut down. So she was not allowed in anymore, and she was wondering how she could still be of service. And she's come up with a really unique way of approaching those same patients, but decades before they're in a nursing home. She's a longevity expert, and her name is Angie Stone.
Hi, how are you both today?
We're super. How are you?
I'm doing well, thanks.
Came all the way from Edgerton.
All the way.
All the way. I know. The interstate is like so rugged. And
I know. At least I didn't have to go on the belt line, right?
Oh, well, there you go, especially this time of day.
Exactly.
So tell me your titles again exactly, because I always blow that.
Yeah.
I called her Shalom Family Dentistry like 60 times, and she's not a dentist. Never portrayed one. So
not even
ahead.
On TV?
No, not even in print. So.
All right. I am a brain longevity specialist. Yes, and I also am a certified dementia practitioner. And so I really have learned a lot here lately about the brain and how to really maintain our brain so that we don't have to deal with this horrible disease that we all know as Alzheimer's, which is the disease that causes 80% of the dementia in the world.
What's the difference between Alzheimer's and dementia?
So that's a great question,
Thank
Shirley.
you.
That's a great question. So we all think that it's one and the same, and it really isn't. So really, dementia is an umbrella, and it's symptoms, right? So it's like, I don't remember anything. I can't get in the car and drive anywhere anymore. That's a dementia symptom. Repeating yourself over and over, not being able to balance your checkbook. Those are all dementia symptoms, okay? So that's all dementia is. It's just a group of symptoms that are lumped together. Mm-hmm. But underneath the umbrella are all of the diseases that cause dementia symptoms, okay? And so we have things like Alzheimer's disease, which is the big one, right? It causes most of the dementia symptoms. And then we have something called Lewy body dementia. We have frontal temporal lobe dementia. We have all of these other diseases that can contribute to dementia symptoms. That make sense?
Yes. Yeah, I get that. That sounds perfectly sensible. Robin Williams had Lewy body dementia, which is the reason why he committed suicide however long ago, because it's brutal. It's worse than regular Alzheimer's. Is that right?
It is. It manifests differently, and neither one is good. Neither one is good. Right. None of them are good. But it's interesting that you bring up Robin Williams, because I've been talking to a lot of people as I've, transitioned. It's really not been a transition. I've been working with people with Alzheimer's since 2013. Mm-hmm. Okay, so it's been in my life, and I've been working with them. Most of the people that we ended up seeing in my previous self and going in and cleaning the teeth, we were seeing people with dementia and with Alzheimer's. We were going to memory care communities mostly. Mm-hmm. And so this has been on my radar for a long time. My grandmother had Alzheimer's. My father is in the throes of Alzheimer's right now. And my great-grandmother also had it. So my dad is actually generation 3, and his sister has it as well. And so we've got to stop this. And again, to answer your question, just a second, we're going back to Robin Williams, but I was going to a place here. So I've been talking to a lot of people in this several years that I've been working with this. And so many people tell me that they have instructed their families that if they get Alzheimer's, just to let them go. I had one woman tell me that she has instructed her husband, now this may be a joke, but she seemed pretty serious, to give her a couple bottles of wine and take her out into the desert and leave her.
Wow.
That's what she has said. And I also know of a person who had the diagnosis of Alzheimer's that that took his own life. I mean, and people think that if they're gonna get Alzheimer's, they do not want to be here, just like Robin Williams.
Right, exactly, because it is so impactful on the rest of the family.
Right.
The person with the problem doesn't even know that they have it or care, because they're just making their way through, and then they get into that combative phase, and then they, so it's not a pleasant situation.
It's not.
And then it became personal for you on top of it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once you start putting all these pieces together and you're like, holy moly, this is is this my life sentence now? And I think that's kind of where you really went whoop.
I did. And it's like all of these people are out there looking for a cure. Which is great.
Yes.
Which is great, right? And we even see commercials about Alzheimer's. It's they say the first survivor of Alzheimer's is going to happen. And I'm like, is that not a backward message? Why are we not talking about we are not going to get Alzheimer's, right?
Right.
That needs to be the messaging. And people don't think that we can even do anything to prevent it. And so dealing with all these folks with Alzheimer's, it's terrible. It is sad. It's frightening. The families are frightened. And so why are we not backing up the bus, right?
Well, you're a hygienist. I'm a hygienist. You're a chiropractor. We're in the prevention. That's our
That's
whole
how we
mindset,
think,
right?
yeah.
That's all we think about is, well, how you have it, but what do we do to prevent it? What do we do to prevent Alzheimer's? And up until 15 years ago or so, there was nothing.
Yeah.
And so now we have a lot of things. I want to make sure that everybody gets a look at what your dad looks like and how you look together. We do have a picture of that. And then there's so many questions right now. I also want to talk about your trajectory and how did you get your certifications and what does that mean to have those certifications, and can anybody get it and who should get it? Shalom was asking about, how to get it. Maybe she should have it.
Yeah.
So let's kind of go there.
So really, it started out with a caregiver certification, right? Because oh my gosh, I'm caring for these elders in the nursing homes and in the memory cares. So I'm like, oh, well, maybe I'll just be a certified caregiver, right? Because I'm going to give care. And then from there, when I got into really working with all the Alzheimer's folks, I was like, oh, I need to understand more about this. So then I became a certified dementia practitioner because I'm working with those people, right? And then it came to the point I'm like, hold on, I want to prevent this, right? So I was in the throes of, like everyone else, trying to figure out how to care for the people with the disease. And of course, we need to care for them. I mean, we need to care for them,
We can't
right?
leave everybody in the desert. It would get
Right.
messy.
It would get really messy with all the people that have Alzheimer's, right? We're taking them all to the
bad.
desert. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
So we need to care for them. Beyond that, though, why am I sitting and waiting to be the next generation, right? So that's where I started to look, and I'm like, how can I not be the next generation? And that's then where the certified, the brain longevity specialist came in. And that's a certification that is through the Alzheimer's Research and Prevention Foundation. You can take that online. They have courses that, that start up every so often, but you can look them up online and go through that certification, and anybody can go through that. Most of the people are mostly in your space, right? Not traditional medicine. Alternative medicine are the people that are in that certification process usually. A lot of yoga people, yoga instructors, a lot of nutritionists, things like that are taking that brain longevity certification.
Oh, wow.
So should people look for that as consumers? Should they be like, if they're 35 and their grandfather has Alzheimer's and they're like freaked out, should they seek out a longevity specialist?
Yes, I think so, because we spend so much time thinking about all of our bodily systems, right? We talk about the heart health, we talk about diabetes, we talk about arthritis, we talk about all of these things, right, that we want to prevent. But what I'm learning is
Your brain is connected to the body.
weird, right? And what good am I if my heart is really good and my brain doesn't function?
Yep.
Yeah.
And your
I
brain's
don't
gone.
want to be here.
You can get a new heart, you cannot get a new brain.
I just have an aunt that went through quadruple bypass surgery. She's sliced open from here to here,
Yep.
right? And her legs, they took the veins from her legs. She's up and walking and feeling fine. We don't have anything we can do for the brain. We can't open it up and take the plaques and the tangles out, right? And all of these things. So to me, to finish up your question, Shirley, it's like, why would I not want to work with someone that knows how to help me keep my brain healthy until the rest of my body gives out, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm no good without my brain.
Yep.
Okay, so did we cover both of your certifications?
Oh, we can talk about the certified dementia practitioner.
Yeah, what is that like? And
Yeah,
who
so
is that?
certified dementia practitioner is through, I don't remember the organization. I think it's the National Organization of Certified Dementia Practitioners or something. But if you just Google certified dementia practitioners, it will come up. That's a pretty in-depth certification. It takes quite a while, but again, you can do it. You don't have to go and take the class in person, but it gives you a lot of the information about Alzheimer's and about what, how it became and how to care for people that have Alzheimer's and things like that.
So going back to our preventative measures, I always tell my patients or clients that let's try to do something different each week. Like if you're brushing your teeth with your right, try doing it with the left. Or try to use your left hand more than if you're right-handed, things like that. Or if you're very studious with reading and that, try to paint something, once in a while, something different to engage both sides of the brain and also your habits. So what are some things, because Shirley was just telling me that now screening is, if you want to prevent Alzheimer's, dementia, that realm, you should start the process before you're even 20.
Yeah.
So
why is that?
Preventative. So talking more about that, prevention is better than cure, like we talked about. And being in that realm, I always think about what can we do? Not just eating right, not just exercising, but doing other things, because our lifestyle is made up of other things, like you mentioned before. Mental stress, de-stressing, actually being quiet, which is a big deal. Quiet, who does that?
Who does that? Who does that?
But I strive to do those things and also educate patients in that area, because we're always just a go, 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 go world. So what are some things that we can do from a young age? Let's say a family has that history and we are going towards preventing that happening.
Yeah, so many things I want to comment on. So thank you so much for that. So first and foremost, when you said that Shirley says that we should start looking, paying attention when we're 20. Why is that? Because we're now seeing that we don't see any signs or symptoms of Alzheimer's until 20 or 30 years after things have been changing. And it's like, I can liken that to the work that you do, right? When you are doing your chiropractic work, and isn't it way easier to
Correct it when they're
correct
younger.
it
Yes.
when they're younger, correct it when there isn't as much going on, than when you get someone that's 60 and now they've never been and they never had your type of treatments before. Right? And
Yeah.
you're like, what the heck? This has been going on for decades, right?
Right, yes.
It's the same thing with our brains. And so we have to, it's absolutely true, we need to start thinking about our brains sooner. It needs to be a conversation on the table, and it just isn't. And so, just like you mentioned, do things that are different, okay? The brushing the teeth, I love that. I love that, eating with your opposite hand, because we're trying to keep the neuroplasticity of our brain, and that's one way that we can do that. So we are creatures of habit, at least if you're like me, you are, and I will drive the exact same route every single day because I know it, right? And I don't have to think, right? But absolutely taking a different way every couple of days makes you more engaged and makes your brain think. Any time that you can be moving your spine, that's good for your brain. So whether you're dancing, whether you're walking, whether you're doing some yoga, whether you're playing with your kids, you just need to get that movement, because the movement of the spine is what keeps our brain engaged a lot as well.
Imagine that. Your
Imagine
brain
that.
connected to your rest of your body. How is it connected? Through the nerves that go through your spine.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, isn't this amazing? And in dentistry, we do that too, right? And medicine, it's like, this does not have anything to do with medicine, right? I mean, our brains don't. It's just our body.
Yeah.
And so nobody ever talks to us about our brains or our oral health. And we know that our oral health is also connected to our brain health.
And gut health.
And gut health and everything health, right? So it just all goes together.
And connection. We always talk about that whole body connection. Not your heart can't function by itself without the brain telling it to do so. Like beat, or the rhythm of your heartbeat, your breathing, your hormones, everything connected. So you are a whole body approach. That's why you need so many different professionals who are experts in their area to have a full functioning one body.
Right. And it's interesting you say that, because you know the way that people with Alzheimer's die. Exactly what you just said. Their brain can no longer tell their hearts to beat. Doesn't mean that their heart isn't good.
Right.
Doesn't mean their lungs isn't good.
Right.
But the brain can no longer send the signals.
So you've been doing a lot of things to help. So you had the blood test, and you had the gene. You have the ApoE4, but you only have one copy.
Correct.
Which is a crapshoot, right? It's a 50-50 chance that you're going to go that way. Is that true?
It's a 30-70.
30-70.
30-70.
So a 30% chance you will start developing dementia-like symptoms.
Yes.
And so you're working with that 30%. You're like, it's not 50%, it's only 30%. So what say we start working with that? You have been doing a lot of different things, so including Dr. Bradenson's books. There's a bunch of books out there, right? I think we have a picture of some of the books that are available. And what kinds of things have you been doing aside from, driving a different way and just engaging the brain in a little bit of a different way?
Yeah, so I want to hit on the ApoE just a little bit,
if
that's okay. So ApoE is a gene that is the biggest marker at this point in time for Alzheimer's. So we get one from our mom and one from our dad, one ApoE, and there's a number attached to them. It's either a 2, 3, or a 4. And what we know is people, if you get a 2 from your dad and a 2 from your mom, we call that an ApoE22. Okay. And you don't have any higher risk than anyone else on the face of the planet. Okay. And if you have a 3-2, pretty well the same. And if you have a 3-3, pretty well the same. Okay. Where we start to see some troubles is when we get that variant of the 4. Okay. So I'm a 4-3. And that means I have a 30% higher chance than a person that doesn't have a 4.
At all.
At all.
Okay.
And if I'm a 4-4, that's where the 50% comes in.
Oh, I
is
see.
the 4-4. However,
So really, even if you're 4-4, you still have a 50% chance of avoiding
correct.
if you find out early enough. You
Correct.
can't find out when you're 65
Right.
because half of the damage has been done.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. I'm getting
and
there.
the other thing is that we have to understand is, I love this phrase. Life's genetics loads the gun, and lifestyle pulls the trigger.
Right.
So there are non-modifiable risk factors for Alzheimer's, and that's gender. If you're a female, sorry, we're at higher risk. Yeah. And if we're postmenopausal,
Right.
we're at higher risk. Oh boy, I have both of those, right? And if my age, if I'm over age 65, that puts you at a higher risk. And if you have the APOE genetics, right? So I'm not 65 yet, but I will be
Eventually,
hopefully.
or you can do like me and just stop at 29, which
Oh.
I would promote all the time.
100%, right? 100%. Yeah. So I like to think of like a revolver, right? I have 4 bullets sitting in my chamber, right?
Okay.
That are locked and loaded, right? But my lifestyle choices, my personal choices with my life can keep those bullets in that chamber
Without triggering it.
without triggering it. Yes. And so just because I'm walking around that way doesn't mean that I'm doomed. And that's
Right.
the message we have to get out to people is that, yes, there are things you can do. And those choices are 60% what drives our Alzheimer's risk.
So 60% of your 30% chance are choices that you make. Did I just say that correctly?
I'm not exactly sure. I don't know.
So you're at 30% risk for developing Alzheimer's, just bare naked.
Yep.
And then you can modify that, 60% of that, by the choices that you're making in your lifestyle.
Yeah, it's easier to think of it as like a pie, a pie. And so people in general, the things that you can change are your lifestyle factors, okay? So
Yep.
that's 60% of the pie.
Okay.
Genetics is 20% of the pie.
There we go. All right.
And our environment is another 20%, right? So if we're living in high pollution areas, if we're living with, Wi-Fi, there's a lot coming out on the
5G.
Yeah. And the, what is it? The electro EMGs, right?
EMF.
EMF, that's what it is. There's a lot coming out on that. And it's like, so, our environments, and you alluded to sleep a little bit, right? And resting. It's like, how are we sleeping?
Not
right?
enough.
Our end, we're not sleeping well, right? We've got our cell phones next to us. We have the windows open potentially with noise coming in. We've got the light coming in from the street, right? And we're meant to sleep in darkness.
Pitch black, yeah.
Pitch black.
Our circadian rhythm connects with our eyesight, and therefore like dim, light, dark. That's how our system knows that, oh, it's rest and relax time, let's go. But who does that? As soon as you wake up, or before you go to bed, there's this blue thing looking at you, or you're looking at it. And then as soon as you wake up, you're supposed to be relaxed when you wake up, not this thing.
Yeah.
On
So I've been hearing, I don't know what you think, Shalom, but I've been hearing like the first at least 30 minutes, no devices for the first 30 minutes that you wake up. Nothing. You get up, you do your deal, you brush your teeth, you shower, whatever. You do not look at that
I know,
phone.
I've been harboring my husband that for the past week or so. No, do not look at it.
Don't look
and
at
we
it
turn
yet.
off our phones because of the 5G or whatever,
Yeah.
or turn off the 5G.
Go in airplane
thingy.
mode?
Yeah, something
Airplane
like
mode?
that. But maybe I should just get an alarm because he usually gets it to see the time. But I'm like, we should just go old school.
clock.
and
Old
turn it
school and
off.
get a clock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A
Then
clock?
a clock? Oh my
Isn't
gosh.
it funny that
Yeah.
we're looking at things that people did before our time to like dim and decrease the chances of looking at the blue light, or all these different things that we can do, which is going to that. Like, what did we do when we had no phones? We were functioning just fine.
Just fine.
Or even better.
I would
Probably better.
disagree.
You disagree with everything.
Miss Technology. She does disagree with everything, doesn't she?
I can't help it.
She's a contrarian. Yeah.
Wear it proudly.
So Shirley, you just told me something that I can use for my computer, which is crazy cool, right? That at a certain time, it starts dimming the blue light, right?
Yeah,
because I use my computer in the night. My husband watches the TV. I don't like the TV. I would rather be reading and researching, right? And learning. So it's this cool thing, and I can just watch the blue light be taken out. And that is super cool. And there's a setting on our phones, too, that can filter that out.
Or you can wear blue light glasses.
You can wear blue light glasses.
My kids, they do virtual school sometimes. They did virtual school, so they have to do their homework on there, and they both have blue light glasses.
Yeah. Shirley, don't you have something in your
I did, but they reflected everything blue on the screen, and we do a lot of our therapy, which is also neuroplastic activating. And it was just very distracting for a lot of people, including me. So I had that taken out, and that's when I put that flux, F-L-U-X,
that's what I was
onto the computer, and then it turns it orange as the day gets longer.
Yes.
And so the other thing that I do is after dinner, I go in the bedroom and turn on my light next to my bed, and it's a red light. And then that's how we go into the bedroom. Then there's no need for the daylight light bulbs that I have installed in the overhead light. We're still old school too. We have ceiling light, and I put daylight bulbs in there because winter is really hard with respect to those rays.
Shift,
So I just go in there, turn that on, and then we just go to bed with just that red light.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot coming out about red light therapy.
So
too.
when you're when you're looking for a clock to have on your bedside table, get with the red numbers because they do come in blue, and you don't want the blue. You want to get rid of the blue altogether and get into
and there's
the red.
EMF
blockers.
Yeah, but I don't quite know how that works. If it blocks it, then how do you get the internet?
Yeah. If you're living in a condo now, so everybody has their own router in every apartment, right? You're attached on, so you have their router. We have a standalone home. Technically, we're supposed to turn our router off at night.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But then, you know
That's what I should do.
You know what? I did that. And then our Google thermostat.
Oh yeah.
See? None of that works then.
It's like nothing, nothing works if you turn the router off.
Yeah.
So when you're resetting, I have to, turn that on.
Every
I have
morning.
To reconnect it.
It's a whole hour job every
morning.
morning.
Not an hour, but it's not convenient,
everything.
Yeah.
Right. Then we go to our present day. How am I supposed to function?
Yeah.
How am I supposed to get this information out?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Absolutely.
So, yeah.
Absolutely.
Moderation. Everything in moderation.
Moderation. Moderation is so boring. Okay, so there's a lot more that we want to talk about. So why don't we come back for another episode and continue on, because the conversation really is, we just kind of talked about the body. Are there parts of the body that we haven't covered? And then we'll just go on maybe next time to talk about how we can best do prevention. What does it mean to be dementia friendly? And then some of the activities that you're doing along with just your personal lifestyle changes. We never really did finish with Dr. Bradenson's book either. So if somebody was writing that down, please erase it, because I don't know that we're going to get to it in the next episode. But this has been very fun.
Yeah.
This is Angie Stone, the longevity expert over here, and I am Shirley Gutkowski of Primal Air, and we have...
I'm Dr. Shalom Samuel with Shalom Family Chiropractic.
So we'll see you next time.